We are now 9 weeks into the 2025 NFL season, and I don't know about you, but I cannot believe how fast that this season has gone by. I don't think anyone can right now. But a topic of discussion on my channel that frequently gets brought up is my subscribers asking me who my Super Bowl favorites are every year, and I give them the same response. I always tell them that I usually wait till around mid-season to give you that answer because by then I have a good picture of where teams will be by then. Well, guess what? We've played 9 weeks of 2025, and I have a good idea of teams that I can expect to be in the Super Bowl this year. So without further ado, I'm going to give you my personal top 10 Super Bowl favorites for Super Bowl 60 in the 2025 season. Before I go on, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow me, and share this video and this channel with all your friends. I would really appreciate it, trying to get the channel to grow a bit more. But let's get on to it. These are my top 10 Super Bowl favorites for Super Bowl 60 midway through 2025. Number 10, the Denver Broncos. Now, you might say that they're frauds and that their comeback win against the New York Giants a few weeks ago, that can be chopped down to, well, it's the Giants, it's not a massive surprise because the Giants stink. Well, I mean, that's true, and that's a fair point, but they also had a comeback win against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly, down 14 points, and I know a lot of people are going to point to the officiating in that game, but to me, any team who can have those types of comebacks deserve some recognition. Both of Denver's losses this season have been by a combined 4 points, so this is a very competitive team right now, and they are definitely heading in the right direction. But the reason they're at the bottom of my list is because I don't know for sure if they are capable of going on a deep playoff run. But still, you take a look at it. The defense is still very much elite. It's one of the best in the league. They are ranking 5th in most major categories, but it comes down to the surprising offense that the Denver Broncos have showcased thus far. Bo Nix has been very efficient this season, but I'd like to see him be a little more consistent, but overall, I can't complain. He's having a solid sophomore season. J.K. Dobbins is having a decent year in the backfield, averaging 5 yards a carry. Courtland Sutton is a solid number 1 target, and that offensive line is still a top 3 unit, and even arguably the best in the game. If the Denver offense can look a little bit more like the unit that showed up in the fourth quarter against those aforementioned games that I said at the beginning of the century, and they can finally solve the Chiefs and Chargers because those teams consistently beat them, then this team will be better stead, and they could be a very dangerous team come playoff time. But yeah, I got to give the Broncos at the very least a shout out, but I'm putting them at number 10. Number 9, the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay may be at the top of a lot of other people's lists, but they're a little bit lower on mine because the Packers continue to make life tough for themselves at times. And then you got their Week 1 dominant performance against the Detroit Lions, their incredible second half in Week 8 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but really outside of those 2 wins, they've also had 2 wins against Washington and Cincinnati, both by the same score of 27-18, and the latter game where the Bengals were on a deep losing streak and they were starting Joe Flacco in that game. But then you also take a look at them choking a 10-point lead to the Cleveland Browns, who were also starting Joe Flacco in that game. And they have that tie with the Dallas Cowboys that they are practically living and dying by at this point, which is why, as of this recording, they are currently the number 1 seed in the NFC. Like, the potential is definitely there, and it's clear to see with a top 5 offense and a top 15 defense. But as I said, every so often, the Packers struggle to get over the hump in games where they should walk away with it as comfortable winners. And week by week, I've gone on record to say that I don't buy into Jordan Love, and while he is having a very good season thus far, I really need to see if he's able to step things up in the playoffs. But if he does, Green Bay is an easy candidate to win it all. Number 8, the Buffalo Bills. So, Buffalo got off to a 4-0 start. Josh Allen was living up to his MVP last year, and things looked really good for the Bills until it didn't. Since week 3, the Bills have looked off more and more as the weeks have went by, and while they did get 2 wins in those games, we can't brush aside how they looked as well. A 31-21 win over Miami in a game that was closer than the score suggests. A 31-19 win over the Saints, same deal. Buffalo was favored by 15 in that game, and the Saints hung in that game until the fourth quarter. And then you follow that up with back-to-back losses to New England on a Sunday night in Week 5 and Atlanta on a Monday night the following week. So in prime time, Buffalo has been getting exposed, and Allen has had 4 picks in the last 3 games before their bye week. But make no mistake, this is still a threat to win it all. Buffalo is simply dealing with adversity here, and we've seen in the past the Bills overcome it. Allen is more than capable of putting this team on his back, but it's up to the rest of the team to pitch in and carry their weight as well. And with Week 8, with James Cook's dominant performance against the Carolina Panthers, that could definitely be a corner turning for the Bills season. And definitely, if they play up to their abilities and go on a deep playoff run, aka finally conquer their demons against the Kansas City Chiefs, people will easily forget about their sluggish slump to this season. So I still believe in Buffalo. Number 7, the Los Angeles Rams. Even without Puka Nacua in the lineup, the Rams are still an offensive powerhouse. Devontae Adams is having a stellar season in LA, being in the top 20 in all major categories for receivers. Definitely still good enough for a wide receiver 1 status. Kyron Williams is vital for chewing time off the clock. And the defense is still a little iffy, but we know they're capable of being physical up front with stopping the run, which is what my biggest concern was this season for the Rams, but they've actually done a decent job with it. Further signaling their intent to be a real Super Bowl contender down the road, the passing game continues to be the strength of the offense, with Matthew Stafford compiling a 91 overall grade, which is 3rd among active quarterbacks. People forget that LA won a title just 4 years ago, and with Sean McVay's offensive genius, this team is more than capable of at least getting back to the big dance. The biggest obstacles in their way to me are the 49ers and the Eagles. San Francisco, because Shanahan seems to have McVay's number, but McVay does have that playoff win over him in the 21-22 NFC Championship game, and the Eagles beat them earlier in the season and in last year's playoffs too, but really LA let that one get away from them real bad. If the Rams are able to match up with Philly again, LA definitely needs to solve their problems from the first matchup. Otherwise, I think people are heavily sleeping on the Rams in the NFC to get back to the Super Bowl. Number 6, the Tampa Bay Bucks. No team has had the comeback kids moniker more than Tampa this season. They lead the NFC South and are gunning for their 5th straight division title and 6th straight playoff appearance. Like the aforementioned Rams, Tampa also has a Lombardi in the last half-decade, and with their stars currently injured, they may be docked a little bit. The biggest one is absolutely Mike Evans, who is out for the rest of the season with a broken clavicle, but Baker Mayfield is putting this team on his back and is easily an early MVP candidate. Bucky Irving is a strong ground game, Godwin is still a dangerous weapon and a solid number 2, and rookie wide receiver Emeka Egbuka is making a case for Rookie of the Year when he's healthy. That said, the Bucks need to get healthier, and the defense needs a bit of patch-up work. And while their comeback wins are nice and they're fun to talk about and they're fun to watch in the highlight reels, they can't rely on that for the whole season. But if they are able to come back like that, much like the Denver Broncos are, they're doing something right. Tampa is an often slept-on team in the NFC, and I keep saying they're a favorite to win it all, and they have the team to do it. They just need to find a little bit more consistency with defense and get healthier, but I am definitely not sleeping on Tampa Bay. Number 5, the Seattle Seahawks. So at the beginning of the season, everyone wrote off Seattle with how they had that mini fire sale, and I admittedly was one of those people. But the Seahawks have only shown that they are a formidable opponent, and over the last few weeks, I am now putting them in as a legit contender. Sam Darnold is a massive upgrade over Geno Smith, and it is really showing right now. Whereas Smith is maddeningly inconsistent, Darnold is consistent and productive, throwing dots, leading great drives, and chewing up time. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet are a solid 1-2 punch, getting split carries. And then Jackson Smith-Njigba is developing quite amazingly and is borderline unguardable. That said, Seattle's O-line is below average, but their play is enough to make up for it. Finally, Mike McDonald is proven to be a great replacement for Pete Carroll, as this defensive genius is not only making Ravens fans punch the air, but is also having this Seahawks team play up to their potential on defense. Seattle currently has the number 8 overall defense in the league, and in a 3-way tie atop the NFC West, they still have time to make up for it. They lost to the 49ers in a close game in Week 1. They beat the Cardinals a few weeks later. They still have one more with San Francisco, and they still got to play LA twice. But if the Seahawks defense continues to stand out and their offense continues to be productive, this Seattle team is a massive sleeper in the NFC, when before everyone thought they'd be asleep for the whole season. Number 4, the Philadelphia Eagles. You know I had to include the defending champs at the very least in the top 5. But I'm putting them a little lower because up until Week 7, Philly had been outgained in all of their games and were still pulling off wins. On the season, Jalen Hurts continues to make his haters and doubters eat crow with his deep ball ability, quick decision making, his mobility in the pocket, and of course his danger on the tush push. Saquon, while not as dominant this year as last year, is still bound to erupt at some point and is the best running back in the game subjectively. Do the Eagles trade A.J. Brown? I don't think so, but when he is running routes and not whining about not getting the ball, he's absolutely an all-pro receiver, huge deep threat mismatch, and a one-on-one nightmare. Hurts and Barkley are safe and sound behind what many consider to be the best O-line in football, and the defense is still among one of the best in the league. Now, the defense can't keep allowing huge chunk plays and needs to find consistency, which led to Philly getting outgained in most of their games. But the Eagles got off to a 4-0 start and then had blown leads against the Broncos at home, and then were inexplicably blown out by the New York Giants 4 days later. Then they got their act together the following week with a solid win over the Minnesota Vikings, and then they crushed the New York Giants in return, and they are still leading a relatively weak NFC East. They're looking to be the first team to win back-to-back NFC East titles since they themselves did it back in 2003 and 04. Now, Philly may not be as dominant this year as they were last year, but make no mistake, the Eagles are still a dangerous team, and they are absolutely a Super Bowl favorite. Number 3, the Indianapolis Colts. If there's ever a time for some random team that no one expected to win the Super Bowl out of nowhere and doing a stellar greatest show on turf impression, it's this year's Colts. As of this recording, they have the best record in the NFL, the highest scoring offense in the league, and have the number 10 defense. So this might be the most complete team in the league for very good reason. Daniel Jones is running away with Comeback Player of the Year for good reason, being highly efficient, decisive, accurate, and finally using his best attributes that he always had in New York that are now being shown. Jonathan Taylor is rivaling Saquon Barkley for the best running back in the league and is a huge candidate for Offensive Player of the Year, but we always knew that he was good. Indy has the best O-line in the league and structured by a great offensive mind in Shane Steichen. The Colts have only had one hiccup the whole season. It was early in the season against the Rams where Adonai Mitchell had that stupid gaffe that would make Deshaun Jackson shake his head. Other than that, the Colts have been perfect. Defensively, the Colts are probably just as good offensively, if not slightly worse, but still nothing to scoff at. They're a little sus on pass defense, but on the ground, the Colts are very difficult to run on, and they do allow 20 points a game, but that's a little misleading. The points that they do allow are basically in garbage time when the game was already decided. Indy hasn't been this good to start off a season since Peyton Manning, and they look like they're absolutely the surprise team of the year. The only question that I have for them at this point is if they meet up with the Chiefs in the AFC playoffs, how do they fare against them regardless of location? They do play the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 12 in Arrowhead, and a lot of us are circling the game on the calendar as of right now, so a playoff matchup will be the grudge match. I do believe the Colts are definitely a threat to go far, and should they get the number 1 seed, this is going to be a tough team to beat in the playoffs. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. Remember when the Chiefs were 0-2? Neither do I. In all honesty, Kansas City could be on a 6-game winning streak as of this recording. If Patrick Mahomes doesn't have that horrendous pick 6 against Jacksonville, and the defense was able to get a stop, Kansas City wins that game. The first 2 games were pretty decisive, so I won't go over any hypotheticals there, but now the Chiefs are looking like the Chiefs. As of this recording, they're 5-3, won 5 of their last 6, and unlike last season where they won a bunch of close games, the Chiefs are winning in convincing fashion this season. All 5 wins were by double digits, including a shutout over the Raiders, and their defense suffocating the Lions on a Sunday night game when Detroit had the best offense in the league in said game. Even though the Chargers have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs due to their Week 1 win over them, the Chiefs are a dynasty, and they've won 3 Super Bowls since 2019 for a reason. They've been to the AFC Championship game every year since 2018 for a reason. They've won the AFC West every year since 2016 for a reason. Now that they got Rice paired with Worthy and the prolific defense, Mahomes has re-entered the MVP talks. When the Chiefs are hot, that's when they are the scariest. With only a game separating them from LA and Denver in the West and them hitting full stride right now, the Chiefs are undoubtedly a Super Bowl contender and always will be with Mahomes and Reed and company. So before I reveal number 1, I do have 2 honorable mentions. I tried to keep this strictly a 10, but I'm going to include these 2 teams as mentions at the very least. The San Francisco 49ers. So the 49ers have been to 2 Super Bowls since 2019 under Kyle Shanahan, and he's a really good offensive mind, and he really knows how to get the best out of his players. But the thing that makes me preventing from putting San Francisco in my top 10 is simply because they're pulling off wins, credit to them, and they're finding ways to win with adversity. But how long are they able to keep it up? They've dealt with a ton of injuries this season, and with Fred Warner and Nick Bosa missing the rest of the season now, both with season-ending injuries, I really don't know if San Francisco can make a deep playoff push, but I could expect San Francisco to at least be a playoff team. But the NFC West minus the Cardinals is a really good division, so I'm putting San Francisco in as an honorable mention. And then my second honorable mention are the New England Patriots. So New England has currently won 5 in a row. They got off to a sluggish 1-2 start, and things are looking really good for them right now. Drake May is being really efficient. Stephon Diggs is a great number 1 for him. The run game could use a little bit of patch-up work, but the defense is still being very productive for the Patriots, and they're currently leading the AFC East as of this recording. So why are the Pats only an honorable mention? Well, here's the thing, okay? And I know style points don't matter in the NFL, but I'm not really impressed with the majority of New England's wins this year. Now, I say it every week. Credit to them. They beat a very good Buffalo Bills team on Sunday Night Football a few weeks ago. That was a nice win for them, okay? However, their other 5 wins, the Miami Dolphins, the Tennessee Titans, the New Orleans Saints, the Cleveland Browns, okay? Those are not juggernaut teams that they have beaten, okay? You could make an argument for the Carolina Panthers too, but they're only a 500 team, and Carolina was under 500 when New England beat them, okay? I'm not denying the Patriots aren't a good team. I think they are, but they've played a cupcake schedule so far, and if they make the playoffs, I don't know how far they go right now. But Mike Vrabel seems to be a very good head coach for the team, and Drake May is definitely putting in a good, efficient second season as the starting quarterback. But put New England against an elite team, and we'll see how they do. But they're at least an honorable mention for me. All right, my number 1 Super Bowl favorite as of right now are the Detroit Lions. Yeah, some of you knew that this one was coming. So losing Ben Johnson hasn't hurt this team at all. To me, the Lions are the most complete team in the NFL, and they have the heart of a champion for sure. Now, in the past, the Lions have beaten these upper echelon teams, and all they need to do now is know when to take risks and when not to. And after a flat Week 1 game against the Green Bay Packers, the Lions have averaged 33.6 points per game and only failed to crack 20 points once, coming in their loss to Kansas City in Week 6. The point is, this Lions team definitely can put points on the board, and they definitely have the offense to do it. Now, in their defense, the Lions do have injuries, but this team is absolutely resilient, and they are built to win shootouts, and they did it all year last year when they won 15 games. Jared Goff continues to be an efficient and productive passer with this offense. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams are a dynamic 1-2 punch at receiver. Sam Laporta is amazing for middle of the field. And then Sonic and Knuckles in the backfield averaging almost 5 yards a carry collectively. All the Lions need to do at this point is show me that they're capable of winning lower scoring games, but they have several chances to do that for the rest of the season. But anyone who knows me knows that I've been on the Lions train for a while now, and I've been saying that they're my Super Bowl favorites for a very long time. If there's ever a window for Detroit to at least make it to their first ever Super Bowl and even win it, the time is now. Well, there you have it. Those are my top 10 Super Bowl contenders and my top 10 Super Bowl favorites. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Tell me who your Super Bowl favorites are, and I will see you in the next one.